Now, the threat of industrial action across key sectors still looms over the UK. Rail, NHS and border security forces have already played their part in the ongoing strikes. And now more than 70,000 staff at 150 universities across the UK are set to go on a strike for 18 days. The university and college unions will go on an industrial action over pay, working conditions and pensions between February and March. However, the precise dates of the action will be confirmed next week. The union will also reballot staff at all 150 universities to renew the mandate. The union demands a pay rise to deal with the cost of living crisis, as a 4% and 5% pay offer is not enough. They also demand an action to end the use of insecure contracts. The UK government has introduced a legislation in Parliament that would require key public servants to ensure minimum safety levels during industrial action by workers. Trade unions have reacted angrily to these plans. The trade union group, the Trade Unions Congress, describes the bill as undemocratic and unworkable. The union also called on members of Parliament to reject it. However, the bill could take months to become a law. The opposition Labour Party has said it would repeal the law if it comes to power. Right now, joining us live with more updates is our correspondent Alex Aizad. She joins us from London. Alex, thanks for joining us. Now, this is a story we've been following since late last year. It's a season of strikes across the United Kingdom, and the situation is only getting worse with university staff set to go on strike. What's the situation on ground as of now?
Absolutely. There does seem to be no end to all of these strikes that are ongoing. And as you rightly say, there's going to be 150 universities across the country, including this one behind me, South Bank University, which will say that they'll go on 2 weeks of strikes. That's between February and March, but the date hasn't yet been set. And this is obviously going to affect students who are looking to do their exams around April time. Now, they've already had a lot of suffering from COVID when they couldn't go to universities that they were paying for, and now that they will have to face yet more disruption to their studies. What we do know is that there's real difficulty between the unions and the employers as well. So this one technically isn't really about the government stepping in and helping. It's about the universities themselves and the employers union trying to figure out exactly how they can get the extra pay. And there's also this problem with pensions as well. Universities that were built before 1992 had their pensions pot kind of taken away, and they had a lot of benefits that were taken away because the pension pot was in a bit of a debt. But now it has boosted back, and yet those benefits are also not being put back into place. So there is a lot of turmoil with the universities.
Now, Alex, there's obviously a larger problem at play when it comes to UK governors. It's been a revolving door of prime ministers. Rishi Sunak has, of course, taken over. He has multiple crises confronting him as of now. Is there a plan in place to tackle these strikes? They're only increasing in number. In fact, there's a strike calendar in the UK, from what I understand.
Absolutely. Sadly, it is affecting many days onwards, and we're still having to wait for many ballots to come through to see when more strike days will happen. We do know that the teachers union, though, they did vote not to strike, so parents will be breathing a sigh of relief there. But for trains, tubes, buses, nurses and ambulances, they all said that they're going to continue striking as well. Rishi Sunak has obviously said to the whole of the UK that he wants to put these plans in place, this legislation, this anti-strike bill, to at least ensure that minimal service will happen no matter how many people strike. But he keeps getting backlash from his own party, and there does seem to be quite a lot of turmoil within his own party. A lot of members who have backed Rishi Sunak have said, look, we all need to be on the same side. We need to try and push them with this legislation forward. But there does seem a lot of pettiness within the Parliament, and it's not playing well amongst the UK public, who just wants to be able to get to work. They want to be able to, get to where they need to get to, and to have the facilities that they're paying their taxes for as well.
Right, Alex, before I let you go, I have to ask this question. What about the common man, the average citizen? I mean, it has to be very frustrating to have strike after strike after strike. These are essential services we are talking about. The NHS, rail workers, union workers, hospital staff, and now teachers. I mean, give us a sense of what's happening in London as of now.
people are frustrated. That's basically the word for it all. Everybody is very annoyed that they can't get around, and also they also want pay rises. This is a cost of living crisis that we're seeing. We're seeing the price of food going up, the price of fuel going up. So everybody, no matter what sector they work in, are also saying, hey, I want to get a pay rise too, and I don't want to pay more for my mortgage. So they're getting really quite frustrated at some of the unions. There is still quite a lot of support for the NHS and the nurses as well, because I think a lot of people have used them and they see the stress that they're under on a day-to-day basis. But other unions, rails and buses, people are getting more and more frustrated, and they just can't quite understand why there's arguments over these pay rises when they're in jobs that haven't seen any pay rises, and they're also dealing with huge bills and huge cost of living crisis that we don't seem to be getting any further with.
Right, Alex, thanks so much for all those on-ground updates. We'll continue to stay on top of this story. Thanks for joining us on WION at this hour. WION World is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.